A few weeks ago, something strange happened at home. My wife walked into the room, holding her phone and said,
"My journal isn't helping me understand what's going on with me."
I thought she meant a long text, but when she showed me, it wasn't a text at all. It was a habit. One single note, dozens of tiny entries, morning, afternoon, night, every day. Just a number and a few raw words about how she felt. Nothing organized, nothing fancy, just honesty and the most basic app on her phone. And the more I looked at it, the more it hit me. This wasn't just a note, it was a record of her days, her highs, her lows, a quiet attempt to understand herself. But here's the problem. The place where she felt safe enough to write all this was also the place where none of it made sense. There were patterns in there, but invisible ones. Clues, but hidden in plain sight. I suggested apps, trackers, and she shrugged. Well-being tools, everything you're supposed to use.
I tried. They don't feel safe enough for me.
And that sentence stayed in my mind long after the conversation ended, because she didn't need a better system. She needed a way to see the meaning inside the words she was already writing while keeping it all private. Just clarity built on top of something she already trusts. That's when something clicked. What if the notes she writes every day could tell her the story she can't yet see? That question, that tiny spark, became the beginning of something new. Something I called Evelyn. And today, I'm going to show you how I built an app that turns her notes into a tool to understand herself a little bit better while keeping everything private. When you use an app on your phone, the data you generate is carefully structured to be easily accessible. It usually looks like this, where the columns represent individual pieces of information and the rows are the things we're saving about each. This rigid structure makes the data easy to compute. Because we're starting with a raw text, the first step in our process will be to transform the notes into a clear, structured format we can use to extract the insights we need. Since she showed me a few examples of her notes, I need to write a little script that follows that pattern and splits the data appropriately. This is what her notes look like. I really like how straightforward the pattern is. You have a date, then different moments of the day, and a score for each. You also have a little note to explain the score. The way I imagine the final experience is she'll copy something from her notes app, open her browser, and paste it in, just like this. Once the note is in, we go through it line by line to extract what we need using simple pattern matching. So think of it like searching in a file. If we find morning, for example, we expect a dash and a number next. We know that number is the rating. We know that the line before is going to have the date and the following line has the note and so on. If we submit, we'll do that for all the lines one by one, and that will give us our clean data. Here I have a line graph showing the mood variations over time. It's a pretty simple chart and probably the first thing that comes to mind, but the fact that the data here matches what we have in the table, that's how we know our extraction is pretty solid. You can see that the values here, sets 7, 7, and 6 match exactly what we have here. We also have a bar graph that compares the average values of the different times of the day. And yeah, it's pretty basic, but looks kind of fun. Once I structured the data, it felt like half of the job was done. After all, this already allows me to display multiple things like bar charts, line graphs, radio charts, etc. But this doesn't feel right. I want the experience of learning about herself to feel fun and personal, not like digging through a spreadsheet. Wait, I think I found the perfect way to get that. In recent years, no single feature has marked this holiday season as the Spotify Wrapped. Anyone with a Spotify account gets excited about receiving the Wrapped and sharing it with their friends. It feels very unique and personal and is more exciting because it's presented like a story. And that's exactly the feeling that I'm looking for here. I couldn't find my own Spotify Wrapped, so I took screenshots from a random girl's YouTube video. And there's actually a lot we can learn from this. I like how they start with a simple reading. This feels welcoming somehow. The quick recap at the start also helps get you in the mood, and these little comments that they add keep the tone super conversational, which is something that I like. So I did something similar, starting with my own list of important insights to present. For now, it's only the script, but we have an intro. We go over some of the peak moments here, the trends, and then we show some common keywords. Showing these conversational insights is actually quite simple. We need to calculate the right metrics, then perform basic word replacement in our script. So for example, here we say you seem to have a bit of a hard time in the ... We need to count all the missing entries, find the time of the day with the highest number, and that's our winner or loser, I guess. And the same strategy we apply for the other insights on the list. And if we check our demo here, for example, we have 18 missing entries, 7 in the morning. So the right answer here would be in the morning. You have a hard time tracking your mood in the morning. To make sure I get this right, I want to start by crafting the story itself. Alright guys, you probably can't tell, but a lot has happened. Let me show you. In Figma, I started with the stories because it felt like the key part of the experience. I was deciding between this direction that feels more like a book and this one that feels more like a poster. I ended up going with the latter because it made the stories more fun to read. Then I tried various fonts. The first 2 ones quickly sealed the deal, so I went on and explored some ideas for the stories design and decided I was gonna put a video in the background. I called the app Evelyn because life ebbs and flows, and if you add some rhythm to it, you get Evelyn, which sounds like a real person's name, and I love that. So instead of filling a form to submit your notes, you talk to Evelyn. That's why Evelyn's universe had to feel warm and friendly and tell me what's warmer than the sun. Literally. And that's basically how we ended up with blue skies and clouds everywhere. But yeah, let's see the real app. When we come to the homepage, we're welcomed by Evelyn. It has this animation because I wanted it to feel alive, and I also really like the oil painting style. So yeah, that's all we have, and we have like all the things moving around here. So this is just a welcome text to make it feel conversational. And I'm just gonna type in my name and paste in the logs that we're using, the notes that we're using for testing. And once I submit, I'm gonna see the stories first. We can go through the stories, we can click and go forward and backward. This is all the things we designed before. At the end, we get on this summary dashboard. So I didn't want to leave her just with the stories. I think it's important to sit down, to be able to sit down and look at the stats still. You can replay the stories here. You can reset the notes. So that's just going to take you back to the home page. And you can export this page as a PDF. So it's just going to print the whole page so she can save it and use it later. We have the number of days tracked. This mood consistency thing just looks at the variations of the different entries, the scores, and that just tells you how stable your ratings are over time. And we have the trends over time that allows her to see if her mood is trending upward or downward. I really like this pattern because this sort of heat map, because it just shows you different days of the week and the trends, right? The pattern. So You can see, for example, that Wednesday is like super low, where Friday and Saturday evening are like pretty nice. I think that's for normal people, right? The mood distribution just shows you in what area the scores tend to be, right? So you can see that this is pretty positive in general. So yeah, I didn't want to add anything more. This is just good as it is. Doesn't need anything more, doesn't need anything else. Yeah, that's it. Alright guys, I just called her. I'm gonna show her the app. Let's see what she says.
Ça va? Ça va être.
Ça va. Donc, je vais te montrer l'app pour traquer ton mot dessus jusqu'au navigateur.
Le Safari.
Donc, ça, c'est Evelyn.
Ok. J'aime beaucoup l'animation.
Vas-y. Là, tu dois mettre tes notes.
Ouais.
Tu veux que je ferme les yeux?
Pas besoin. Where's my husband? Okay. Nope. Okay, and I did happy and excited. Yeah, and I did sleep.
Ouais. Tu as vu la fin du truc?
Oui, j'ai vu le message, non? Ça, non?
Oui.
Je vais exploiter le PDF, celui-ci, bientôt.
La page.
Voilà. J'aime beaucoup, j'aime. Remercie-moi, madame Agnès, maintenant pour être là.
Watching her try the app made me realize something I did not expect. This project was never really about the code or the charts. At first, I just wanted to build something that respected her privacy while still giving her meaningful insights. But in the end, the real challenge was knowing someone I love well enough to create something that makes her feel seen and cared for. And I think that's what I'm really chasing when I make apps. Tech that doesn't feel like software, tech that feels like a gesture, a gift. If that's something you enjoy seeing too, if you had just a little bit of fun watching this, then welcome, my friend. My name is Niall. This is the first video on my channel, but I have so many more stories like this to share with you. I'd love to have you along, so please consider liking, sharing, subscribing, and if you want to try the app for yourself, there's a link in the description. Bye!